approaches to win this match, but he's going to have to improve A, the resistance from bad positions, and B, just like realizing he needs momentum. Some of those decisions has to figure out a way to keep winning chances on, even if it means risk. Like to see him take those decisions quickly, because that momentum, it's not going to come from anything but a win. So, I mean, I could say that he needs to fix everything. The level we're seeing right now is nowhere close to what's required to beat Hans in a match. Like
Right.
nothing's gone well for Ding right now.
Yeah, and that's just
No,
the reality. He's also a player that's shown a level higher than this, so we know that it's there.
we definitely know that it's there. Don't know what's going to kickstart it today, but I'd say the last game, yes, he lost. It was a very, very poor finish, but I'd say it's his best position and something. If he can get those opportunities, he will end up scoring a point.
Hmm.
A
Yeah,
drier
I
position. Like if I think I'm Ding, I want to beat Hans. And you got to make Hans suffer. We need some of those positions where it's just a bit uncomfortable. There's some weaknesses, and Ding can demonstrate his technical abilities. We just haven't had that today. In these really sharp positions, Hans is shown right now very comfortable on the clock, very practical. Got to get him out of his game. And
I'm just gonna go out and say that despite us maybe talking about what needs to change, I feel like this is almost an example of what I wouldn't recommend. This type of French position where you can only really be worse, and you give Hans Niemann an opportunity to show off that great technique. That not just Hans, but even I feel like if Ding had this position with the white pieces, you expect a strong player to be able to show something in a game like this, where you look at that bishop in black's position, light squared bishop, all those pawns on light squares as well, and you see the strong, beautiful knight on the d4 square. Eric, if that knight on b6 jumps into c4, it can often be captured, and more pawns go on light squares. So, Eric, I'm really not liking this position for Ding at all.
no, you'd want Ding to have the white pieces here. This is a
Okay.
French position, and it's defined by the pawn structure. They both have light squared bishops, but black's light squared bishop is restricted by their own pawn chain. And there's a good knight on d4, a great knight, and these positions, it just means it's a little bit preferable for white. Ding, maybe his approach is like, you know what? Hold as black, let me get a chance as white again. But it's not an easy position to hold. It's not a terrible position. I mean, it looks terrible. I don't think it's good. But there's no breakthrough right now. The problem is it's easier to play for white as well. And those are the positions easier to play. Hans is going to end up with the time advantage. And Ding doesn't have an active way to change that. There's no breakthrough for black here. This is a position where black's best course of action is to sit still, because any sort of pawn move, if black were to play f6, just creates a
Mhm.
weakness on e6 and g6. If black ever touches the a pawn, brings a rook to the a file, plays a5, try to find a way, no, now you're weakening b5.
Yeah.
Black has nothing better to do than to sit and shuffle. Even if black finds a knight, the knight goes to b6, c4, that might not even be a good exchange. White's knight on d4 is their best piece.
Yep.
So we see Ding right now shuffling back and forth. If this ends up being a draw, I don't think that's terrible for the match situation for now. There's still a long ways to go, but it's not inspiring. Nobody enjoys playing these positions. Like, this is not fun for black to just now. White, Hans should try to do something at some point, because you don't want to allow your opponent to get away with this style of chess as black, just shuffling back and forth. So maybe that king for white goes to d4 and the knight reroutes somewhere else. At some point, white wants to play g4. G4 is not playable yet because of the double rooks on the h file and there's a pin. But g4, I would open up a file if black were to take. They're fighting over the H file because that's the only open file. Well, or potential open file right now. Everything
And
else is locked.
I'll just say the obvious. It feels like Ding is almost bringing a little too much of his classical expertise into this match. This is a position that I think most experienced blitz players just wouldn't take, because you know that the time is working against you. It's not what you want to do in a blitz game, to play a position where you have basically no plan. So I don't really agree with playing a position where the best case scenario appears to be a draw. So we'll see if he repeats this or continues this throughout. He is keeping up the pace, but for me, Eric, this is not a decision or a position that I'd like to see Ding in the future.
It isn't. If he does draw this game without a lot of difficulty, at least I understand the logic behind it. He recognized that last game with White, he was pushing. And if he keeps getting those positions, he's got to trust that he can convert them. And that's just one part of the equation. Hans has won games with White and put pressure on. So if this solid position, yes, it looks ugly, but the end result leads to a draw, I get it. And look what's happening here. Black is up a pawn. Things are still pretty locked. That C pawn can't push easily because it has no support. But as long as that's a protected passed pawn, I don't see how Hans can do anything here.
Well, so I think there was a moment to play for Ding B takes on C4, and it would have allowed the bishop on D7 to move to the A4 square. And then you have moves like C3, C2 that become a real option. Here, everything's locked up. There's really not anything that can be done. So it was actually an interesting move, C4, C5 by Hans. I thought he did a great job, but then it was actually Ding who missed an opportunity. And again, Eric, I'm just not seeing Ding seize those moments or even take a moment to look for them in the position. It feels like maybe he was comfortable with it being just equal.
I think so. I think you just described it. His mentality it's the only thing's too strong for me to see him playing the French, and like he's okay with the draw going into this game, and that mentality, even when the position changed, he knows by taking the weight he took, he can't lose, or he shouldn't be able to. I shouldn't say can. We can definitely lose, but that protected pass pawn. But I don't think that's going to be enough, right? Ding often that mentality. I'm going to win the positions that I'm pushing, but outside of that, he's not extracting, not looking to maximize.
And there's I guess a situation here where I think Hans is, he can overpress. If he goes pawn hunting, like king g5, king takes on g6, suddenly that pawn from c4 can advance further, and you start to get really concerned about c3 and maybe a5 and b4. That's a move I'd be playing almost
Wait a
right away,
second.
like a5.
King e6. Can you go run the king to d5? If knight c3, there's g5. I think Ding has an opportunity here. I think that was a big blunder, Hans. Moving the knight to e2, giving up the e6 square. King d5 is a serious threat here. Knight c3, you have g5, and your king gets the lane. Here, check, and then g5.
Yeah.
So bishop
exactly.
check, g5. Ding.
Yeah.
Ding
Hans
has the
knows
setup here. He's got pass c pawn, pass g pawn, and the knight is no longer on that beautiful d4 square. Just an unforced error from Hans. He's got to shuffle, but Ding is ready to move his king in. That king can keep pushing down the board. I think king f5.
I think that Ding has played in a way that's almost seemed unambitious, but he's ready to pounce and he sees his opportunity beautifully here. Hans was almost pressing for a win in a position where he probably shouldn't have, and he's now regretting doing so. So Ding absolutely needs to take this moment, and he's head in his hands calculating he has to convert this into a win.
Yeah, king f4. That bishop on c6 is a hero. You just push the king to f3. Bishop stays there. I'm expecting king f3. I guess there might be some things to calculate. He could be looking at c3.
The knight is
Yeah.
overloaded.
Knight
Covering
d5
c2
check
to
is an
g2.
idea, but Ding will not take. Won't allow this pawn to queen. They'll just play king f3. Yeah, things are overloaded here. This Ding has to win this, and it's hard to blunder here. To lose
we
both
talked.
the b and the c pawn
Well,
would be very difficult.
that's what I was going to say. We talk about momentum. Playing this French position and winning it is absolutely insane. I don't really know how we ended up in this position, but the only answer is an overpress. Hans tried to do too much with the position because he's honestly been winning and outplaying in most of the games so far. He expected to be able to do it again here, but Ding stood his ground. He's not going to let that happen. The bishop covers e8, and with 34 seconds, more than enough time, Eric, to convert this one. I think he's got it.
Absolutely has it. So knight d4, you can try.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is you start pushing your c pawn. So if bishop goes to e8, g2, it's not in time.
Yeah.
So c6, g2, c7. But at the end of that variation, Amon, there's bishop g6 check, forcing king takes c3, and you have queen c1.
Yeah.
So queen, bishop check. What's going on? Oh my goodness, Ding. Bishop g6, am I mistaken? Was that just winning? That was just winning,
Absolutely.
right?
There was knight f5, but it wouldn't have really changed anything because you could still throw some checks in. Now it's much different because the pawn is one square from queening on e7 here. And are we seeing a reaction from Hans on the camera there? He almost can't believe that he's still fighting in this game.
He can run his king down.
Mm-hmm. King.
He can run his king
I mean,
all the way down to, do you play d4? And then
like king
king to
d4,
d6?
king d5?
And then c6.
Right.
Hans has found the variation, but this is so unnecessary for Ding to allow both
He can
players
flag.
are getting
He
their
can
queen.
flag.
Oh, Ding's down to 3 sets. Yep.
Just want like Ding needs to remember he needs to move here. By the way, what's happening here?
He needs to not flag. What's happening is it's 100%. I can't say 100%, but it should be a draw.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there we go. The pawn is definitely lost, and it
This is
will
just
be a draw.
shocking. Ding was gifted a win. Credit to Hans for finding a challenging sequence